Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Patrick Shepard, the Associate Director of the Cleveland International Film Festival, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our CIFF46 Community Engagement Program Information session. And I am joined by Community Engagement Manager Mary Brown and Coordinator Jen Vincent. Please note that this YouTube link will remain active for on-demand viewing afterward. And we welcome your questions in the YouTube chat if you are joining us live. And at any time during this session or afterwards, you can email me at Patrick, P-A-T-R-I-C-K, at clevelandfilm.org at any time. So we're going to begin by sharing our story of the Cleveland International Film Festival. So we are one of the longest running and largest film festivals in the United States. We were started back in 1977. Our first home was at the Cedar Lee Theater in Cleveland Heights. And then we moved downtown just not long after Tower City Center opened, joining the old Terminal Tower rail infrastructure. And we had 29 great years at Tower City Cinemas. And in fact, we topped attendance of 100,000 for the final years while we were there. So, of course, the pandemic hit, and we were actually at Cleveland City Hall on March 11th, 2020, when Mayor Frank Jackson declared his first state of civil emergency in front of a live press conference. And he also canceled the film festival and the St. Patrick's Day parade at that press conference. But we managed to pivot pretty quickly, and we're pretty proud of that. We were one of the first arts organizations in the greater Cleveland area to launch our program virtually. And also we were one of the first festivals in the United States to do so. And in that first run of CIFF44 streams, which ran in the latter half of April, we did have over 42,000 streams, and we define a stream as 70% viewed or more. Then we had the whole year to determine what we were going to do in 2021. And this was, of course, in the pre-vaccination times. So in October of 2020, we announced that we were going to remain entirely virtual for 2021. And we did have increased participation, just over 51,000 streams throughout the course of that festival. But we did have time to really build around the program, which included some accessibility initiatives, captioning of films and audio description whenever possible, and sign language interpreters and captioning of Q&As. But one of the biggest innovations was our online filmmaker engagement. And we had 250 filmmakers participate in over 60 conversations. And that included some pre-recorded Q&As, some live happy hours, some CIFF Speaks audio podcast episodes, and we'll get to this in a bit, but we did have some community partner moderated conversations, which were really a bit of an innovation because that's not something that had happened a lot prior to the pandemic. We did have some special programs as part of CIFF45 streams. We launched our Groundbreaker Award and program, which elevates a BIPOC, that's a Black, Indigenous, or person of color filmmaker, and our first ever Groundbreaker Award recipient was Ashley O'Shea, who was the director, producer, and cinematographer of the CIFF45 streams film Unapologetic. And a companion program is the Dreamcatcher Award, which elevates an LGBTQ plus filmmaker. And we were delighted to have Todd Stevens, a native of Sandusky, Ohio, as the recipient there. And what's common about these two programs is that we connect them with various communities that are interested in their films, and also students on college and university campuses. So we're hoping in 2022 for the award recipients for this upcoming festival, they'll be here in Cleveland to do that in person because everything last year, of course, was virtual. We also want to call out our partnership with the Anisfield Wolf Book Awards. This is outside the festival itself, but we have been invited to be part of Cleveland Book Week for the last 2 years, and that means that we present racial equity focused programming over the course of a week. We had 6 feature films and 2 shorts programs that were presented in late September and early October. We built filmmaker and guest conversations around all the features and a couple of the shorts. And we had increased participation in 2021. We had over 2,700 registrations, all of which were free because they were underwritten by our great friends at the Cleveland Foundation. And plus, we did incorporate our Film Slam educational program, and they were able to stream a special lineup of short films, and over 9,000 students registered for that. And this does relate to our commitment to racial equity. This is a permanent part of the strategic plan of the Cleveland International Film Festival. We have a variety of goals and objectives, including supplier diversity and the like. So that is something that we are going to continue day by day, month by month, year by year. The community engagement program, I'm not going to spend much time on the top part of this slide because we're going to be talking a lot more about it after I'm done with this presentation, but it is a very important part of what we do, and we highlight it anytime we're talking to sponsors or stakeholders or the like. Lower left, you'll see that social media is a big force for our organization, and it's important for us to use those networks to get the word out about the film festival. So what you see there are numbers for the 14-day run of CIFF45 streams. We do want to mention that we essentially have the good housekeeping seal of approval for our industry because we are an Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences qualifying festival, and our award-winning films in the short categories of animation, documentary, and live action are automatically sent along to the Academy for nomination consideration, and in many cases we've been the sole reason that films have been nominated, and in a few cases we've been the sole reason that they've won. So we're very proud about that. Film Slam Streams is our virtual media literacy program and mini festival of films for students in grades 5 through 12. This is another pandemic innovation prior to our last years at Tower City. We would typically get 10 to 12,000 students, and that was basically limited to school districts that could get a school bus to downtown Cleveland by 9:30 on a weekday morning. But now we are presenting virtually. You'll see the numbers that we had just over 275,000 student streams, and we have a lot of focus on the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and you see that we had over 27,000 student streams for that cycle. And then you see that county map that we are currently in 32 participating counties across the state of Ohio. Okay, and so here we are at CIFF46, and we are very excited about our plans, and we are essentially going to have a trifecta here. This will be our first ever hybrid festival consisting of an in-person festival immediately followed by an online festival. It'll be our first festival at our new and permanent home at Playhouse Square, and CIFF46 will be our first 18-day and longest festival ever by virtue of being in person and online. And CIFF46 will open on Wednesday, March 30th, 2022 at the Connor Palace. And following opening night, approximately 280 screenings will take place in these 6 venues over the course of 10 days. The Allen Theater, the Connor Palace, the KeyBank State Theater, the Mimi Ohio Theater, the Upper Allen, and the Westfield Studio Theater. One of our competitive advantages at Tower City Cinemas was the fact that all auditoriums were under one roof. And the great news is that the Allen, the Palace, the State, the Ohio, and the Upper Allen are all under the same roof at Playhouse Square. And it's just a short walk on Euclid Avenue to the Idina Center to access the Westfield Studio Theater. So after the CIFF46 closing awards ceremony take place on Saturday, April 9th, the festival will present as much of our content as possible on our online streaming platform starting Sunday, April 10th through Sunday, April 17th, 2022. And the hybrid decision is informed by our collective judgment, and these were our decision-making guidelines and drivers. The health and safety of all involved, science-based information, the state of the industry in terms of distributor availability and restrictions, and our human resources in terms of talent, capacity, and bandwidth. So CIFF Artistic Director Mallory Martin is working with her team to curate 150 feature films plus 150 short films that will be presented in collected programs. There will be approximately, as I mentioned earlier, 280 theatrical screenings at Playhouse Square. All CIFF46 films will have 1 or 2 screenings at Playhouse Square. And we hope to include as many of those films on the CIFF46 Streams platform as possible, but there will be limitations and not every film will be presented virtually. And I'm glad to share that filmmakers are already sharing their enthusiasm to travel to Cleveland for screenings of Playhouse Square, and we look forward to welcoming them back to Cleveland. We will unveil the films, our schedule, along with sidebars, awards, competitions on Friday, March 4th at 11 a.m. I'm going to repeat that because it's a big date and time, because that affects anybody that's a community partner representative. So we are going to unveil our program. Everything is confidential and embargoed until Friday, March 4th, but we unveil it at 11 a.m. on that day. So at this time, I'm going to unshare my screen, and I'm going to ask Mary Brown to talk a bit more about our program and our plans. Mary, you're muted.
I'll start over. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you today. The Community Engagement Program has been an important part of the CIFF for nearly 2 decades. As you may already know, this program builds and strengthens partnerships with other nonprofits by connecting them to festival films that are relevant to their mission and work. The partnering entities agree to publicize festival films in exchange for promotion via our online platform. I want to underline that for-profit entities, colleges, universities, and media, and medical institutions are not eligible for participation in the program. We welcome cash sponsorships from those establishments. I now want to take this opportunity to thank all of our seasoned community partners and welcome any new nonprofits that are joining us for the first time. Community partnerships are trade in nature. There is no cash obligation from the organization for this co-marketing opportunity. The catch, however, is that there must be a film in the festival that matches the organization's mission and work. If there is no such film, there is not an opportunity for a partnership this year, but maybe next year. We're going to review all the elements of the trade partnership in a bit, but now I want to share an opportunity that has proven to be of increasing value to our nonprofit partners in recent years. While this is an entirely optional opportunity, we have found that community partners have curated conversations about their partnered films in increasing numbers. This can be done with or without a filmmaker, virtually or in person at Playhouse Square. We are inviting now Elizabeth Kuzma, Program Director from Global Cleveland, to join us and talk about her experience last year and her work to moderate a virtual conversation about the short film, Welcome Stranger. Welcome, Elizabeth, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Patrick. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Elizabeth Kuzma. I'm the Program Director at Global Cleveland. And last year, we had the pleasure of working with the film director from Welcome Stranger. This was the at least 4th year that we have been a community partner, and Patrick will be able to confirm how many years we've been a community partner. So we, have had familiarity with the film festival and have enjoyed working with the film festival as a community partner. And what was so unique about last year is that we were able to engage directly with the director and hold a community conversation around the theme of the film, around our work at Global Cleveland, around how different ways people can be welcoming to strangers in our community, specifically those who are refugees and immigrants. And I will tell you, the film is a documentary. It was a short, which was nice because a lot of different people could watch it without committing necessarily like 2 hours to watching it. So that was an added bonus to working with a short this year. And having Sarah, who is one of the main characters of the film, of the documentary, and having the director on, talking about the firsthand experience of starting the Casa de Paz, which is the home where Sarah welcomed people coming out of detention, ICE detention, which is what started this whole evolution in Colorado. And there are several other locations around the country where there are these sort of houses, but this one is in Colorado. And hearing directly from Sarah about her experience and what made her want to want to help refugees and immigrants, and then with the directors actually being there to talk about the process of engaging with the people who live in the house, with Sarah, with the community, was so powerful to take a documentary, which is, it's a real story, but then engaging on a whole other level with the actual individuals in it who weren't playing characters. They were even themselves, especially in the midst of a very difficult period in our immigration, history over the last half century, which has then only been exacerbated, right, with the crisis in Afghanistan this past summer and into the fall, and currently. It was an incredible opportunity to really touch at the heart of the personal sacrifice and growth that comes out of being selfless, which is, I think, what the film demonstrates, and the hope that can be created and the opportunity that can be created by being selfless and really welcoming. And so that's at the heart of what we do at Global Cleveland, which is why it was such a perfect pairing. Initially, I actually didn't think this was going to be the film we picked, but after discussing it with staff, that's what we decided. And it was a beautiful opportunity to share the film. People could watch it, throughout the period of the festival. And that's also the nice thing about streaming it, is that you can watch it at any point during the time, which was super, because it gave people more flexibility. I didn't grow up in Cleveland, so if I wanted to go to the film festival, I had to make a much more of an effort to plan around to be able to get up here to watch films. And so streaming actually was kind of wonderful in my opinion. And then to add on top of that, this conversation, which you can also see on our YouTube page, Global Cleveland's YouTube page, you can see the conversation also. And then what was really great is we were able to show that conversation during Welcoming Week, right? Which was also awesome. So I would say, it's been a pleasure overall to work with the film festival for many years. It was extra special this past year. And also we were just so grateful for the directors and for Sarah just to be willing to engage with us. We're a small nonprofit in Cleveland. You never know if people are going to want to work with you. But I think because our missions were so aligned and our stories were so aligned, it was an excellent opportunity. And we were really grateful to be able to work with the CIFF team on that.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for sharing your time and knowledge with us this morning, and the continued support from Global Cleveland for the festival. We now, I'm thinking that we now are going to welcome Cynthia Connolly from the Lake Erie Native American Council to talk about her experience with the conversation that she worked to produce in support of the feature film documentary, End of the Line, The Women of Standing Rock. Welcome, Cynthia.
Hi, good morning. I see my title still says City Club. I wear many hats in my role at work and in my volunteer work. So I serve on the executive board of the Lake Erie Native American Council, and we were a community partner for the film, as Mary Brown had said, the End of the Line, Women of Standing Rock. And this is a documentary film that covered the engagement of Indigenous women and how they spearheaded the Standing Rock movement a couple years ago, and how important it was for Indigenous women, our communities, as well as for larger Native America as well. And so a little bit about LENAC. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're completely volunteer based. We have no full-time staff. We have no bricks and mortar location. It's very community driven, grassroots, community run, by and for us. And I think the big take home I want everyone to realize is, even if you don't have a huge, production team behind you, you can still be a very awesome, engaged, and rewarding experience as a community partner. And one of the first things that we were able to do is be connected to the director, Shannon Crane. And if there's any advice I can give to those who are working directly with directors is if they don't have a comms team behind them, you may be working with someone who's incredibly busy. So make sure that you get the planning process started early and soon. Their email is so full, but they are generally incredibly grateful and excited to do these types of forums. And what we did is a kind of almost a moderated conversation with the director and a couple of women who were featured in the documentary. And working with the director was super fun. I would say that we had also divvied up our responsibilities. We had a number of community partners attached to this film, including, for example, the Ohio Environmental Council. And they were the ones who provided a lot of the tech support. So if there's someone in your cohort of community partners that has certain talents, leverage that and make sure that you're able to bring everyone's best foot forward. And I think the also important thing here is if your particular documentary or film is covering communities of color, make space for those people in this work and make sure that you're helping and leveraging them and supporting them in this work. And so huge props to the community partners in this film because they absolutely made space for the local Indigenous community and gave that support as needed. So I was able to moderate the conversation with the panelists. I have a little bit of background in moderating and doing these types of panels. So I was super comfortable with that. But I encourage everyone to not be shy and to get out there. Again, the more we can have these conversations to sound like, you're eavesdropping in on a kitchen table convo, the better. So we had a lot of fun with that. It was also a little solemn because actually one of the women who was featured in the documentary had walked on that same week. So we were able to use that as an opportunity to honor her. I think the other thing I want to point out is that we were able to reuse this particular conversation over and over and over again. It's now archived on the website, and we're able to, bring that up and kind of reuse this as part of a conversation. And I am still in touch with the director, which is a really cool relationship that I've formed, and I've been able to, because her film is not actually streaming anywhere for free right now. And so I was able to reach out to her, and I now use that film in the course that I teach at Kent State University. So really awesome how we're able to leverage these partnerships. Again, we're a very small nonprofit and being able to do such great things. I think the last thing that I can say is that being a community partner and hosting these conversations really helped LENAC and our local Native community tell our story as well. So we're featuring the director, we're featuring these amazing Indigenous women who did such great work, but it was also an opportunity to showcase the important work that we're doing here locally, as well as kind of promote our mission and get our name out there. And I absolutely can say with confidence that we had an increased level of engagement on all of our social media sites, increased emails and inquiries on all of the issues that we care about, getting additional volunteers for our programming. So without a doubt, it was not a heavy lift. It was super fun. What an honor to have conversation with these Indigenous women, and cannot recommend any more than having this added value during the Cleveland International Film Festival.
Cynthia, thank you so much for sharing your time this morning and that great information. We really appreciate the continued support from Lake Erie Native American Council as well. So I have one more example to share with you, which was another very cool partner engagement. This was with TriC, and it was one of the community partners for a brilliant film called Topoa, a film that celebrated a music project that provided brass instruments and instruction to young students in the slums of Uganda. TriC was able to assemble a panel of filmmakers, subjects from the film, and the acclaimed jazz musician Wynton Marsalis, who was also in the film and was such an inspiration to the students. This was a rare intersection of talent and a celebration of the transformative power of music. And it occurred right here in the Idea Stream studios of Playhouse Square.
All right. Thank you, Mary. And thank you to Cynthia and Elizabeth. Those were really just very generous words. And we just felt it was important to call this out because this is happening more often, virtual engagements. And then we need to sort out what in-person engagements might look like. We'll just say that you can, as Mary said, you can do them with or without a filmmaker. And you can do it virtually or in person. And just follow up with us if you have questions about how that works out. So I want to touch on some changes. We're gonna dig into the contract for CIFF46 community partner, but I just want to kind of highlight some changes from past years that directly affect our partners this year. So PDFs of our A to Z film descriptions and schedule will be downloadable from our website. We are not bringing back the Bound Festival program guide, but logos will still be included alongside the web and PDF-based film descriptions. Community partners will still be acknowledged in the pre-film introduction of in-person screenings. However, we are discontinuing the practice of asking representatives to speak as part of the introductions. However, we are bringing the community engagement corner back, which we've not had since 2019. And our veteran partners might recall that this station was located near the Tower City Cinemas entrance, and that's the place where partners were welcome to set up shop and engage festival patrons after the in-person screenings of their films. And this will likely be located at the Idea Center at Playhouse Square, but we have some meetings that we need to go through to ensure that that's the case. But we'll keep all of our engaged partners informed as we go along. And speaking to the CIFF46 Streams program, that will be available for streaming nationwide in the United States unless noted. Some films may be geo-restricted to viewers in Ohio or regionally, and any geo-restrictions on CIFF46 Streams films will be noted with the film's description. So Mary and I want to ask our great friend Jen Vincent, a longtime festival family member who has agreed to be our community engagement coordinator this year, to talk about the contract that I'm about to put on the screen.
Thank you, Patrick. So once Mary confirms a film partnership for your organization, I will work with you on a few items, beginning with signing the contract. So the contract outlines the benefits of partnership provided to our nonprofit partners, as well as our expectations. And I'll just touch on both of those now. You can see it here on the screen. So the benefits your organization will receive include logo placement on the film festival website, logo placement as well before your partnered film, depending on the platform. So for Playhouse Square screenings, the logo will be included on a scrolling pre-show presentation prior to the start of the screening. For CIFF46 Streams screenings, the logo will be included on a slide that will appear prior to the screening of the partnered film. In addition, your organization will receive recognition at in-person screenings during pre-film introductions. If you would like to participate, a community partner representative may staff a portion of a designated table and display information for a limited time after in-person screenings. And as we talked about earlier, community partners have the option to create your own conversation. Your organization is encouraged to coordinate and facilitate a discussion about the partnered film, either through a digital platform of your choosing or in person. And more details about this opportunity are available from any of us upon request, and this program can be promoted by CIFF. You will also receive 2 vouchers, which will be redeemable for either an in-person or an online screening of the partnered film. So in return, CIFF asks our nonprofit partners for the following. Your organization will promote the partnered film through your digital platforms, such as email, newsletters, social media, and if possible, your website. CIFF hopes for the sale of a minimum of 10 discounted tickets to any screenings of the partnered film through the unique ticket discount code that we will provide. Your organization understands that all CIFF46 programming information is confidential and embargoed until March 4th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Each organization understands there is no exclusivity in partnering with the film, and any CIFF46 film may have other cash sponsors or nonprofit community partners connected to it. All organizational representatives agree to adhere to the CIFF Code of Conduct. And finally, the organization will submit an in-kind donation form detailing the digital marketing promotion facilitated by the organization, preferably to the value of $1,000 or more, by May 31st of 2022. So as I mentioned earlier, we will provide your organization with a unique ticket discount code, which is among the most important elements of the partnership. As in previous festivals, the organization will be given a customized CIFF discount code for distribution. This helps us track ticket sales that have been generated through your efforts. Remember that this discount code can be distributed to any and all of your stakeholders, and it can be used for any film in the festival, not just the partnered film. The code provides a savings of $1 per ticket for any CIFF46 film, though the discount is not valid for opening night, special events, or in combination with any other discount. For Playhouse Square screenings, non-member ticket prices are $16, meaning the $1 discount code will reduce the price to $15. And for CIFF46 streams, non-member ticket prices are $10, so the $1 discount code will reduce the price to $9. I will now turn it back over to Mary to talk about how you can apply for community partner consideration.
Okay, next steps for nonprofits. The application process is open and ready for you to apply via the Google link, the Google form link that will be placed in the chat. We ask interested organizations to submit an application by next Friday, February 4th. Here are the highlights of the application that will help us match films to nonprofit. First and foremost, tell us your organization's mission. Please include information about current programs, services, and/or initiatives, examples, exhibitions, performances, or educational programs that are planned for 2022 for the purpose of film matching. The information you provide on this application will be the primary way we will be making matches this year. The more we know about your organization and what it's doing this year, the easier it will be for us to see a logical match of a film. We are also asking you to share your organization's ways of promoting the partnered film. You will share the metrics of social media, platform followers, email, broadcast, database, and any other form of communication that can be used to promote a CIFF46 film and filmmakers, if applicable. We will then make connections to films based on those applications. While there is no guarantee that every application will culminate in a partnership, we will make every effort to make logical connections. This year, again, we will continue to look at the short films programming for possible film matches for partners. Global Cleveland's film was a great example of tapping into the short films programs from CIFF45.
And Mary will be our primary contact for making the matches. And I want to emphasize that organizations will not automatically be assigned a film. She's going to reach out when we have a potential match. If both parties agree, then we'll bring Jen in to send a contract. And we are, for the second consecutive year, using the DocuSign platform. So let's review some important dates for our program. We've talked about some of them already, but let's take a look. I'm going to put it on screen here. Okay, so obviously we opened the applications back on January 6th. Today's the information session. The deadline is next Friday, February 4th. And then we're trying to confirm everything by February 25th. Though that I will say that that is very much, I would say, a soft deadline, because if there's ways that we can engage additional partners after that date, we'll continue to reach out. But as we referenced earlier, the big date is March 4th. That's when all of this confidential programming information is unembargoed and unveiled on our website. And that downloadable PDF of film descriptions and schedule will be released afterwards on a date to be determined. On the 11th of March, CIFF member sales begin. So if you are a paid member of the organization, you have early access to ticket sales. And then another big date for our community partners, Friday, March 18th, is when our general public sales ticket sales begin. So you can use your unique discount code to encourage people to buy tickets at a discount beginning on that date. And then we've covered the dates for CIFF46 at Playhouse Square and CIFF46 streams. We are asking, as Jen mentioned earlier, for you to submit an in-kind valuation form by the end of May. And this is a requirement of our independent auditor that comes in every year and wants to know what kind of in-kind donations that the festival receives from partnering organizations. So that is our entire timeline. And at this time, we welcome any questions. So I can tell you that I know that some people will not be joining us live, and I'm going to put up here my email address if you are watching this on demand. It's not coming up right now, but we welcome any questions in the chat at this time. And we'll wait a minute, and if there are none, then we will wrap up. Yes, there's the email address, patrick@clevelandfilm.org. All right. Well, hearing no questions, we want to thank you for sharing your time with us today. I do want to make reference to some comments that came in the chat earlier. We do have a code of conduct for the Cleveland International Film Festival. It is part of the community partner contract, and we do take direct action if people are not abiding by the code of conduct, which includes respect and appreciation for all people. So we do want to thank you for your interest in the Cleveland International Film Festival. We look forward to connecting with you at the 46th Cleveland International Film Festival, which will run at Playhouse Square between March 30th and April 9th. CIFF46 streams will follow between April 10th and 17th. Have a great day.